Peace, family. This a quick live. Welcome to the DOA TVM. Your boy Fancy Neutron. Do join us over at battleonline.com for more. Off top, I definitely want to extend my thoughts, prayers, and condolences toward those affected in the conflict that we've heard about over the weekend, namely the terror attacks on Israel, and some of the retaliations with Palestine. And, I know a lot of people are going to get into it and say there's a whole bunch of more information on this, of why it's been happening, how long it's been happening. But needless to say, it was such an aberrant report that came through on the weekend. We've seen continuous attacks and it hasn't stopped. We've been seeing a lot of backwards and forwards. So one of the things we just wanted to really, look at it. It's a global situation, something that's happening around the world. I know some people feel as though it's not something that we should be getting involved in, especially as Black people, as African people, because they feel as though when it comes to our plight, other people have sat on the fences and haven't necessarily extended any kind of support or anything like that when it comes to us. But, not everything's like tit for tat. And at the same time, some people say if you're quiet about any kind of injustice, it can happen to anybody. So I think we're seeing those kind of manifestations in the world. But I wanted to share a post that I came across on Facebook. Let me see if I can pull it up, from African Stories. So shouts out to these guys. So I want to read this. You guys should be able to see it on the screen. I'm going to give this a quick read and scan. And it says, another flare in the Israel-Palestine conflict, and my African brothers are standing again. The Muslim African man is standing with Palestine, and the Christian African man is standing with Israel. However, it is funny how Africans love to fight and stand for other people and not themselves. Out of ignorance, the African man does not know that he is in a worse situation than the person he is standing with. Let me give you the stats. The average lifespan of a Palestinian is 74 years. That of an Israeli is 83 years, but that of Africans is 64 years. Unemployment rate in Israel is 3%. In Palestine, it is 24%. In Africa, it is 35%. And it goes on to say poverty rate in Israel is 21%. In Palestine, it is 29%. In Africa, it is 30%. Israel is producing 64 gigawatt for themselves and Palestine of electricity yearly. The whole of Africa is only producing 147 gigawatt, and they say less than 3 times of what Israel alone is producing. So we're not too sure about these stats and these numbers. There might be a few typos and mistakes, but it also says, lastly, these two people receive way more aids and donations per capita than the amount of money you will ever make in your entire life. As you see, you that they are supposed to be standing for is claiming to be, as you see, you that they are supposed to be standing for is claiming to be standing for somebody else. You that is standing for somebody have to stand for yourself. Your leaders are corrupt, funneling your collective wealth into their personal account. Have you stand for yourself? You that cannot afford to eat 3 times in a day, have you stand for yourself? You that cannot afford healthcare, have you stand for yourself? And why are you standing? Is it because you know about these people's history, or is it because they colonize your perception of God? Oh, okay, keep standing. Oh, so as we see this post from African Stories now, I don't, I just wanted to bring it up because I feel he made some points in there. Now I kind of test toward the stats and facts. I'd have to really troll back through them and see if we could, just really figure it out. But what do you guys think? Initially, let me know your thoughts in the comments. This has been a global situation that we've seen that has caused so much duress worldwide, and people do take a stance. I've seen it myself. I've seen like Black brothers that I know, not necessarily from the continent, but from the diaspora, who follow the Muslim faith. A lot of them have chimed in and said they feel as though that the West is to blame and the UK has had a lot to do with, the turmoil that's going on in the Middle East. So my whole kind of thing is, I think we should use our voices, but in terms of using so much energy, I don't think we should. I think we should restrict some of our energy definitely for our own community and our own people. Ultimately, because that's what everybody else does. You know, every other group, they practice those same kind of practices. They reserve their energy first and foremost for themselves and their own kind, which sounds kind of bad. I know some people say it's one race, the human race, and that sort of thing, but it's a shame that the world doesn't necessarily operate like that and allow us to see these things. It, really pits people against each other. We've seen such disturbing news come in from this weekend from the Hamas militants in Gaza. They say that a German model was murdered and killed after they stormed a festival. A couple of Brits were killed. Um, I know a brother who's a Muslim. He's chimed in and says this has nothing to do with Islam and it is, it's satanic behavior. And he claims the Hamas and those guys are hypocrites. And I said to him, well, dude, there was some footage where they were screaming Allahu Akbar. We've seen all that stuff there, but we know that doesn't necessarily mean that their message speaks for an entire group of people. So yeah, it's quite an interesting one. I want to know communities' thoughts. Do you guys feel this is something that we should be collectively getting involved with and using our voice? It isn't nothing that's necessarily new. We've had a lot of free Palestine stuff over the years in the UK now. Quite ironically, I know they're looking to clamp down a lot more on protests, and they're actually identifying like if people are protesting for Palestine and stuff now, they're linking it in with this recent event and saying, well, you guys are kind of supporting terrorism or kind of bigging up terrorism. So it's very slick. Now I could sit here and get on the West, and that's sometimes I think what people want us to do as Black people, and they say, oh, look at what's happening, and they ethnic cleansing. They're trying to get rid of groups of people and stuff, and I always go back and I think, okay, well, when we say this generally as Black people or as a community, it often falls on deaf ears or isn't listened to or is sneered at or is, people act like it is something that doesn't exist. So we see a lot of hypocrisy in the world that when things afflict some people, they want to be, obviously they want to be looked out for, but they want to be held up where it's like, this is what's happening to us. This is really bad. We're going against this. And when we see it in other cases, it's not the same energy. So my whole thing is like the way that people treat, I guess, Blacks, even in the Middle East and other regions around the world, they got to stand on that. And, we do know that, yes, they are probably going to want that support. I don't know too much of the conflict, what's going on out there. Some people may say it's a religious issue. Some say it's a political issue. If you guys know a bit more, let me know your thoughts in the comments. So definitely an interesting one, but I want to know what you guys think. Do you think Africans, Black people, however you want to phrase it, should take a side in this conflict that's happening around the world? I mean, generally, what are you guys' thoughts of the conflict that's going on? Do you think it's too much being done in the name of religion? So many people have this mindset where they want to fight so hard to prove that they're right. And I always say the truth doesn't really need nobody to fight so hard to prove it, because the truth is going to be the truth, and it proves itself constantly. But we do know that we live in quite a corrupt world at the minute. People have hearkened and say, hey, this could be quite prophetic, looking at revelations and end of days and apocalyptic times. So we just want to encourage everybody to stay safe out there. The world is in a lot of chaos and turmoil. Ultimately, it doesn't lead to any good, all this death and destruction and chaos. And we want to see some more kindness and stuff in the world. So, we don't want to see any glorification of war and conflict, because as we said, these flagrant acts of violence and disregard for human life is quite brutal, barbaric, tumultuous, and inevitably can lead to no good. So guys, just keeping it short and sweet, I'm gonna chime out on this one. Your boy Fonzie Neutron back at online.com. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments. The DOA TBM, they can try to block us, but they can never stop us. Yeah, that's for you, YouTube, because they definitely be trying their best to censor the information that we bring. And I would say we don't even go that hard. We try and be as politically correct and empathetic to all as possible. But guys, I'm out on this one. Let me know your thoughts. Peace.